I'm just a little songbird, try to fly my way homeward with the melody, and I make the beat. Don't know where it'll take me, cause when I'm in the dark of night, I sing my way back to the light. Come along with me and your heart will see that a song changes everything. And the music is moving me forward on to brighter things, on to bigger dreams. Let the harmony carry me, even if the sky's falling down. I know the sound will lead me out. Come along with me and I know you'll see that a song changes everything. Oh, ooh,
You have extra acoustics, or
I do. Yeah. Because today I'm not at home with the pink curtain behind me. I am out and about in the city. I am at San Antonio Ballet, but we got to back up and talk about who we are first. We haven't introduced ourselves. I'm sorry, I just jumped the gun. Boom.
You go. You introduce yourself first.
I'm Andrea Vocab Sanderson, and my illustrious co-host is
Catherine Particini. Wow. Zach is right about your introductions. You could do that for a whole living, as one of your extra jobs.
Oh my gosh, if I were to truly properly introduce you, I would say she is a visual artist, mother, wife, has great shoulders, and an endearing heart that all people love. America's sweetheart, ladies and gentlemen, Catherine Particini.
Oh my gosh. Wow. How do I even, wow. I don't know how to follow that.
Just smile and say, "What's up, y'all?" Or whatever you say. You wouldn't say that. You would not say that at all. But, in your own way, just say hello to the people.
Hello to the people and welcome to Arts for the Health of It.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're on location today. This is going to be a really fun episode. Before we get started, what are we looking at? We want to remind you that we still have Make 1,000, Give 1,000 going on. We're getting lots of mail in our P.O. box, so much so that our board member, Stephanie, who picks up our mail, has to go to the counter to retrieve the packages.
That's a big problem to have.
Yes, it's amazing to see all these entries coming in. You can participate from anywhere. All the information's on our website, heartsneedart.org. There's a bar right at the top where you can click and get all the information on how to participate. Ooh, and there's the URL. Richard just threw it up there for us.
heartsneedart.org/1000 hearts, plural.
Yes.
And that is, you are at home making hearts. And for every heart you send in, money is donated to us so that we can keep all of our programming going.
Yes. And then your heart gets delivered to a patient or medical staff. So it's a really cool way to exercise your creativity, no matter how you do that: drawing, painting, sewing, quilting, and share it with other people that are in the hospital.
Absolutely. How has your week been going?
It's been good.
I have been busy. It's been crazy how busy I've been, and it can't stop, won't stop.
Well, it's all, I think, the good kind of busy, because you're living in your purpose, just sharing art with so many people.
Last night I was at the Tobin Center for Performing Arts, doing some stuff with the Ghostlight Society. It was women telling their stories, women who tell their stories, and we were celebrating just affluential women in San Antonio area. So we had just women from different fields of media and art and ballet, which is kind of cool because it segues into what we're going to do today. But it was a great warm up to what we're doing today, and I'm super excited to get into that. But I had a question for you, Catherine.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I have still never met you in person. I've only talked to you through this podcast and through Slack and through text and through email. 11 ways to talk to you, none of them in person. And I was thinking, because this morning I stopped to get some food from a restaurant that is very Texas centric. I will not say their name because they're not paying us to give them advertisement.
That's right.
But as I was picking up this food, I was thinking to myself, I bet Catherine Particini misses this establishment or some establishments in Texas. Then I got to thinking, I wonder what all she does miss about living in Texas. So I wanted to ask you today, Catherine, what do you miss about Texas? Give me a short list of like 5 to 10 things of from, living here.
Short list. It's going to start with food because the food in Texas is amazing. So breakfast tacos are number one on my list. Torchy's in particular, it's probably my favorite taco place.
Those are the bougie tacos. Those are the Austinites.
They are.
Spot, and it's moving into San Antonio. Like now we got like 5 or 4 locations here in San Antonio at least. And when I was driving back from Austin the other day, I saw a standalone Torchy's that wasn't connected to anything. And I was like, oh,
no way. Oh. Wow.
Now they might as well be now Torchy's, you owe us money because we're talking about you on the air.
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have disclosed that name.
You kind of have to because it's your short list. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you one more because we're almost out of time. I miss there's this warm breeze in San Antonio that to me is just to die for, and it's in the evenings, and it's warm and comforting, and and when it's real hot out in the summer especially, it just like takes the edge off, and it's just so beautiful to me. I miss that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been other cities in Texas, and the closer you get to the coast, the Gulf Coast, the more humid it gets. But San Antonio, we're far enough removed away from the Gulf that we get some nice little, the Gulf may get some breezes, but it's a little bit more oppressive. So I feel like we get some of the breeze and it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's less like an armpit.
Yes. Spitting as they blow on you, spitting like a raspberry. That's what it feels like when the breeze blows when you're closer to the coast.
This is true. Well, on that note, we should bring on our guest today. Would you like to introduce?
Absolutely. So this woman has her own ballet studio here in San Antonio called San Antonio Ballet. She has been dancing almost her entire life, and I absolutely adore her. Every time I get up and go places, there she is, or there her students are, and they are putting on the Ritz for us all. And you are going to see her in just a moment. She's going to walk this way, or maybe she'll plie or prance this way, on point herself all the way over here. It doesn't matter. Please welcome to the stage, Danielle Campbell. And now I'm moving over. We're not even having transition. We're just going to put her.
We're just going to do it. This is real life.
Close in each other's face, and I should put some gum in my mouth because I got
Share your breakfast. Hello, Danielle. It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to see you too, Catherine. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we know you're in San Antonio and we're in a ballet studio, but can you tell us about kind of how you got here?
Yes, absolutely.
Long story. I'm gonna sit
the short version.
You're like right beside me, instead of looking into a camera, like look at you.
No, I love it. No, it's so fun. Yeah, I started dancing like every other little girl wanted to. And, I trained at the Kansas City Ballet. I went to a boarding school for high school outside of Boston in Massachusetts. And then when I graduated, I started dancing for different ballet companies. And my last contract with the ballet company was here in San Antonio. So that's how I moved here. That was 15 and a half years ago. And I decided to stay when I met my husband and was having babies. And
pushing out boys.
Boys, wonderful boys. They are amazing. And yes, I make them dance and they love it. And so, yeah, I think once my contract had ended, I got an opportunity to open up my own school. There's an amazing woman, Sandra Bravo, who had the Bravo Ballet School here in San Antonio. It was in a historic building that had been a dance studio since like the 50s. And she reached out to me and said, hey, I closed my studio, but I know that you're here. You should consider opening up your own school. And so I thought, this might be interesting. Let me talk about it with my husband and see how it goes. And it started off as, just a test to see, what the need and the desire was. And it just kind of from there kept growing and growing and growing. So here I am. We've expanded. We've been in Castle Hills 6.5 years. And I felt there was a need to provide access to high quality classical ballet training and make it accessible for everyone. So here I am. That's my story in a nutshell.
A super condensed nutshell.
Yes.
You want to go first, or you want me to go first with the questions?
You can go first. Go ahead.
Okay, so my thought was I was thinking about where we're located, which is pretty good centrally, and I was wondering, do you see girls from all over the city, and do you have any male students, and how does that look for you, like as far as because I'm thinking, how are you bursting at the seams with people coming through? Is it people, I'll stop.
Yeah.
I'll let you answer.
No, so yes to all of those things. We do teach here, but something that I'm very passionate about is community outreach. And so we have satellite campuses. We teach weekly dance classes in SAISD and on the east side. And so those partnerships are very important to me. Also in South San ISD, we have a presence there. And yes, we do have male students, and we even have a boys ballet class on Fridays, and they rock it out.
What's the age range? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so right now our youngest male student at our school, I think, is 4, and then our oldest male student is 13.
Wow.
So
Nice.
yeah, pretty good range, I think. We hope to be able to expand, and to keep growing, and especially in other communities, so that the children who really want more from their dance training can have that. I love that we are so central, though, because it makes it easier for, I think, people from different areas to come to us, and we definitely do have students coming from as far as Canyon Lake or or Floresville.
So those places are like an hour from here.
Yeah.
45 minutes. I was gonna say, so you make dance accessible but not easy.
Right. Well, I hope that one of the things that I love about ballet is the discipline and the etiquette behind it. And so I, hope that when I teach, I present it in a way that, that my students are able to grasp it quickly, but then also learn that through the process, it should take time and there should be thought behind it. And I think they're more than just the steps, there are life lessons, because in life we work at something a little bit at a time to make it better, over time. So maybe not easy in a sense, but it's still a process that they enjoy because they're learning about themselves.
Yeah, muscle memory. I think it was only a few years ago that I started to really understand the concept of muscle memory and how you can train any part of from your mind to parts of your body to do something if you're repetitive with it, if you're consistent with it. And I don't know, I guess if you're starting in ballet, what's one of the first things that they try to teach you, drill into you?
Yeah, so repetition, like you said, is the mother of all skill. So definitely we talk about placement and how to walk and stand and sit very tall, and we say very important people. And that is something that you learn day one. Even when they're teeny tiny, 3 years old, we stand them outside of the classroom. We get them all lined up. We greet them. Good morning, dancers. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Let's stand tall and walk tall into the room and get ready for our ballet class. And the same holds true for even the jazz and the hip hop classes, because you have to go through those different positions, but it starts with the placement first. Yeah. And this is also, I think, something that can translate into what they do in their future selves when they go to audition or have an interview. I think people will respond to you a little bit better if you're sitting tall and you look, like you have that maybe poise coming in, rather than, we call this like the I'm at the mall type of
I'm at the mall.
That means I'm going to respond to you in that way, right? And so, and then from there, then we start to really get into the steps. Plie, it means to bend. So even though we're bending our legs, we're still staying tall while we're doing this, and we build the muscle from the ground up. And then we start with tendus, moving our feet, and then our legs get a little bit higher, and then we start to turn, and then we start to jump.
Yep. And then they're arabesque, and then they're
just like that.
All in it.
Look at you! Yes,
I know a couple things.
Yeah.
It's something I hadn't considered though in learning dance, is just that very first, that seemingly basic step of how your posture and how you carry yourself. And I feel like that translates into all parts of your life. Yeah. So like teaching kids to just be aware of how they're standing. I mean, that there's so much energy behind that. That's really amazing.
And their body language, right?
Right.
Posture equals attitude.
Very important. Yes.
Your posture will affect your attitude so much, and it'll affect the way that people respond to you so much. And everybody loves the fact that ballet just seems so formal and graceful, and it's like, how can I attain what these women, these men, these people have put their body through this process, and their mind, and it's so much discipline and stuff like that. So how old were you when you started?
I was 4 years old.
4. She said she was 4.
I was 4 years old, and I started. My first teacher, she's still alive and she's still teaching. She's in her 90s.
God bless.
Her name is June Neal, and she's very fit and just someone I still look up to, honestly. I started in Kansas City, Kansas, and June Neal Dance Studio. Whoop, whoop. And I did ballet, tap, jazz, acrobatics, baton. I did, all. And I love that she was able to introduce all of us to so many different dance disciplines. And she was really instrumental in communicating with my mom. Hey, I think Danielle would really do well concentrating in ballet. And so then from there, I went to my first professional ballet school. But I would still always take some of my classes with her throughout the whole time. And even when she closed her studio or retired 5 years ago, I went back and danced for her because that was just really important. And I think it's very important to have an inspiring teacher like that for the very first time, who just will shower you with love and just give to you and just, coach you and really try to create a path for you to continue if that's what you want.
That's what real teachers do. They recognize the potential and purpose in a student, and they guide them.
Right.
Push.
Off the cliff.
and it takes a lot of wisdom, and it takes a lot of foresight for that to happen. So I think it's great. So and in creating this place for young adults, what are some of the things you do to try to guide them in the path when you see the it's like, oh, you right there, you are ripe for this ballet, and you should do it for the rest of your life? What are some of the things you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I kind of pull from what June taught me and just I try to expose my dancers to as much as I possibly can. We don't focus solely on competitions or solely on performances, but we do a little bit of competing. We do 2 productions in a year, but we also focus very much on their training so that they have a solid foundation. Not just in ballet, they are required to take ballet, contemporary, tap, so that they are well-rounded dancers, because ultimately we want them to be able to adapt to different styles, so that if they do choose to dance and they work with different choreographers, they have that experience of working and moving in that way. So I think that's basically, my main sort of mission or goal. I try to identify their strengths, their individual strengths. And then from there, we talk about a plan. Like, what is your ultimate goal? Is it to go to college and dance through college and maybe become a choreographer? Or is it that you want to be a professional dancer? I've had students that have gone on to perform on cruise ships, some performing on Broadway, and then some who choose ballet. So I think just offering them high-level training in each of those disciplines is my main goal, so that they can find what really speaks to their heart.
So speaking of hearts, we're going to go to my song called My Heart Knows, that was produced by DJ Now Ilfudge. Check it out.
And my heart knows, baby, it's true. And my heart knows that it's you. Yeah, it's true. Oh, what a passion, what a burning in my soul. Give me fire and smoldering. Oh, 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 you to speak about to my love alone. I wanna take it slow, but it's new. And my heart knows that it's you. And my heart knows, baby, it's true. And my heart knows that it's you. Baby, it's true.
Hello. So that was my song, My Heart Knows. The reason why I'm no longer sitting is because we're about to go into an exercise that Danielle's going to lead us in. Y'all know every episode we do a something on air that you can participate in. So Catherine, if you want to say a couple words, I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to move out the scene, and then she's got. I will. I'll sit over here, but like kind of like not on, not on. But I'm doing it.
So yeah, Danielle, tell us what this exercise is and what you typically use it for.
Sure. So first I'm going to take you through some isolation. So we're just going to warm up our head and our shoulders and get them ready to go. You would typically find this in maybe a jazz or a modern class. We also circle and roll our head before we begin our ballet class. It's one of the first exercises that we do. And then we're going to move into some arm or port-de-bras movements, is what it's called in French. And I thought I'd pull from the Ballet Swan Lake because it's lovely and timeless. And so we'll be swans today. So just really quickly, we're going to sit very tall. We're going to pull our belly button to our spine. We're going to lengthen our back. We're going to press our shoulders down and open up our chest like we have a $1 million diamond necklace on. Okay, and from here, we're going to take our right ear to our shoulder and move it to our center, and then over to the left and to center. And then we're going to draw a circle with our nose. Circle the head 2 times all the way around. While we circle the head, we want to relax our neck and shoulders. Good. Come back to center, and we'll start all that to the left shoulder, left ear to the shoulder, going through center, still maintaining that posture. So your shoulders over your ribs, over your hips. And then we're going to take 2 big circles, moving the head all the way around. Relax the neck and the shoulder, no tension anywhere. Very good. I think we're ready to go. Now, again, making sure those shoulders are back, chest nice and open. We're going to bring our arms in front of us like we're holding a beach ball. And then we'll bring them over our head, open to the side, and all the way down like you're holding a golden egg. Again, we go in front and all the way up, and open, and down. 2 more times. Arms in front of you, arms fifth en haut, arms à la seconde, and arms en bas, and arms en avant. Last time. Keep the shoulders down as you move the arms, and down. Now we're ready for swan lake arms. Let's bring the right arm up, and then we're going to float the arm down. Make sure the elbow is going behind you. and left arm up, and let it flip down. Relax the elbow. Okay, good. One more time. Right arm and down and left and down. Two more. Follow the hand with your head, and remember to sit tall and left and down. Now 2 arms going up, and use a little bit of resistance as you push down like you're sliding down a wall. And again, chin up and let the arms come down. 2 more here and up. Belly button to the spine. Shoulders nice and down. Chest open and down. Very good.
Mm.
We did it. Opening up the chest and upper body. Yeah.
I have never done that before in any real way.
I was like, I'm stretching my body. And it does, it makes you feel a little bit more graceful. It makes you feel like you're focused on it, but you're kind of letting go at the same time. That's an interesting experience.
Yeah.
And this is not something that's super like hard to grasp, but it just feels so brand new.
What I like is that when I'm in a class and being instructed, your mind can only be focused on the movement and what the teacher is really coaching you to do. So you have nothing else to think of, and then your body just starts to move. And then as we build, it's like, oh my gosh, I worked out my whole body, my head, my nose, my shoulders, my toes, everything.
Right.
Yes.
It's like learning a different language in a way. And the mind, I guess, like the mindfulness of the movement. I don't know. I find that we only did it a very short time, but it's almost meditative because you're so focused on what you're doing in the present moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was super conscious of my fingers, and I was like, what am I doing with my fingers? My fingers don't look like what she's doing with her fingers. I need to fix my fingers. I was like, but no, maybe it's okay that I'm not. I was like, she's not scrutinizing me because she's doing her thing. But maybe if I was her student, she'd be like, move your fingers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is just like maybe one part of an exercise. I might repeat that like 4 or 5 different sets of it. And with music, I think that's what really moves. So, I mean, putting on Tchaikovsky's score and doing that, for 3 minutes straight, it's like, it's exhausting, but also it feels like very freeing.
Yeah, I feel like my blood's flowing.
Good.
Yeah. Do you find that when you're teaching, is it easier for you to teach younger children because, I don't know, whatever reasons, or is it easier to teach older kids that have maybe more body awareness? Because I feel like with little kids, they use their whole body for everything, but they're not necessarily aware of what they're doing, right? So
yeah, so I think physically it's easier to teach maybe more mature dancers who have been, performing or taking classes a little bit longer. But I think it's also very rewarding teaching the younger students and like seeing how they do their first, pirouette, and you're like, oh my goodness, I taught them that,
I helped them.
And even though you have to do it with them maybe 50 times until they get it right, it's so rewarding to see them, sort of conquer or master, a skill. So, both there are benefits to teaching, all of the ages. The littles are also so loving. They just want to hug you and kiss you, and they, are more vocal in that way. Whereas the teenagers, they know everything. And so, you have that challenge as well. But I think, for sure, to answer your question, there are definitely benefits to both age groups.
To each, yeah.
I was going to say, because youngs or little ones are so, the focus is the hardest part. How do you instill focus in little ones?
Yeah, I think that I enjoy setting up my classroom with lots of props and things that can keep them engaged, but I try not to overstimulate them. And so, for instance, like if we're going to do maybe Swan Lake arms with you, I can just kind of talk you through it. But with the younger ones, they might get bored if I talk through it. So I might put a scarf in their hand, and they might, and I'll say gently, bring the scarf up and bring it down and look at your scarf. And we'll talk about, hey, let's lay our scarf out and let's fold it. And this is how I teach hand placement. So it's just being a little bit more creative with, yeah, and it's fun too. And, you know, you can kind of make it what you want it to be.
I love that.
I want to go back a little bit to the outreach programs that you initiated and kind of what came of that, because it's a really fascinating story, like what that led to with the American Ballet.
Yes.
Company.
So while I was still dancing, I started to teach, and I would teach, you know, at a couple of different studios locally here in San Antonio, but also I taught at the Boys and Girls Club. And American Ballet Theater recognized my work and offered me a scholarship 3 years in a row to receive my teaching.
Oh, is that all? Amazing.
Come again.
Yeah, so that was a blessing to receive that certification and to be recognized for my work. And I simply was just doing something that I loved to do and felt was important to do. And my father always says, you do the right thing for no other reason because it's the right thing to do. And so that was just one of those moments or times that, you know, it was recognized and a huge blessing came out of it. But Misty Copeland is probably one of the most famous ballerinas right now. And she is a principal dancer with American Ballet Theater, but she was discovered in a Boys and Girls Club through a program like that where they offered dance, and her dance teacher was like, hey, you're very talented, you need to go down this path. And now she's famous and super famous, lives in New York City, and that just goes to show you just never know. You never know who you're teaching. I think it's a beautiful thing when I'm able to go to either one of my campuses in SAISD or on the East Side and really see a student who shows a lot of promise in dance. We have been able to offer scholarships to some of these young children to the ballet school here at my home studio. And, you know, they're mixed in with kids from all different types of backgrounds. And, you know, so you may have someone who is from the South Side who lives in an apartment become friends with someone who lives Castle Hills, Alamo Heights, in, you know, a mansion. And it doesn't matter because they love to dance. And that's what the art should do. It should just recognize talent, regardless of your zip code or your home life. And here they're all the same.
Well, thank you so much. That is really wonderful. We do have another segment with you, but before we do that very last segment with our good friend Danielle Campbell, because y'all probably like, who's this beautiful woman sitting here? And normally her name would be on the screen because she'd be in her own little rectangle, but she's not in the rectangle. She's sitting in my rectangle. I'm Andrea Sanderson, and she's Danielle.
You're sharing rectangles. Yeah.
Sexy, illustrious ballet dancer. So before we do her last, segment, we're gonna go to "Go Easy" by Big and Bernard.
How about we take the break from the breakdown? Make time to talk before words lose their weight now. Don't wanna start another war. How about we take the break from the breakdown? Make time to talk before words lose their weight now. Don't wanna start another war. Go easy. Fictitious words can cause mischief. Gifted for speak that keeps the party lifted. I say lifted, we can lift it up to a level where the trouble don't exist. Think back, get back, way back in the day.
was Go Easy by Big Infinite.
All right. I went before we took a break. You were just talking about how the arts can kind of equalize our experiences. Like it brings us together in a common way, regardless of where we come from or what our parents do or any of those things. And I think that we see this so much in Hearts Need Art in the hospitals, where you're going into people's rooms and you have no idea like who they are, what their situation is, and it's just showing up to share this art or music thing that you're offering to them. And so it's just I feel like the work you're doing, it's very parallel to that, obviously in a different modality, but it's just really interesting to hear the take on that.
I love that you say that. You know, recently my oldest son, he is asthmatic. And so he was hospitalized last week. And, you know, at the hospital, they had someone come by and it was fairy tale day and read a book. And it really does make a difference. And I know that from just being the parent of the patient, but just to see him kind of light up and smile and say, and mommy, can you continue to read to me, and to, you know, to have programs like this are extremely important. So thank you and you for doing this. Yeah.
So how did some of the ways because you work with a young person, they come in at a certain age and they grow with you, they stay here and they grow up with you. And how do you feel like their mental or emotional health changes when they start getting into ballet and dance?
Yes, absolutely. This is a really great question. And there's so many ways I could go with this, but I love being able to see my students grow from little, I call them tiny tots or minis, and see how they mature. And I believe that my job is very important because I'm spending a lot of time. These parents are trusting me with their children, and they're with me a couple of hours a night and the weekends, and you know, they're with me all day. So I say I have a very important job to not only make sure they're good dancers, but just decent and good human beings. And so I just try to talk to them all the time. As much as I'm teaching them steps, I'm always checking in with them. Hey, how are you feeling? Just even last night, I was speaking to my students, and some of them were like, you know, Miss Danielle, I think I have, you know, a lot on my mind right now. And I was like, you know, that's okay. I identify with that. I have a lot on my mind too. And would you like to speak to someone about this? We're very blessed. I have one of my friends who I danced with is a psychologist. And so I will bring her in to speak with the dancers when they are at that age and they feel like they need that extra support, because it is something that is real and I don't think talked about enough. I also will give dancers time off, even if they think they don't need it, because I am just very in tune with them. And I think that comes from my mother. I'm one of 6 kids, but she knows all of us like the back of her hand. And so just being aware of, again, their body language, and how they take class. I mean, I can, even though we're not as verbal in the ballet class, I think I do a good job of just sort of reading them and seeing what they need. So yeah, definitely reaching out to professionals and making sure that that's offered to them is a priority of mine.
That's a big question, because I have one last question before we start asking her what you got going on.
Not a question, but I guess just a comment that I didn't grow up doing dance, but my sister grew up doing gymnastics from like age 5 till 18. Like that was her life for a very long time. And I find this similarity in people that either, whether it's gymnastics or dance or martial arts, or, I mean, it could be any teacher really, it depends on the person, but there is this almost commitment to developing the whole student, the whole, like their whole person, and not just you're here for 2 hours and then you're gone and that's it. Like there's a level of, I think, expertise that comes with what you're doing, saying you just kind of, you can sense where your students are and where they might need to be guided or when they need a rest. And so I just, it's amazing to me to hear, and it's comforting too, even having my own son, like he's in jujitsu right now, and watching that coach, the way she manages the classroom is just, it's like she sees every student, but she's at the same time somehow. So
Yeah.
it's just that was my comment, not really a question though. So
I do have one closing thing. What do you think is not the best, because whenever someone asks me that question, what's the best? I'm like, that's too much. What's some really great advice that you feel like you've received in your dance career and teaching career that you feel like has been something that you kind of kept at your center as you were?
Okay. There are two things that I think come to mind. Let's see. One, there was a director of mine in Nashville, Sharon, who gave me advice in one of my evaluations, and it was not to get too heady, like to get inside of my head and overthink and overprocess. And so it was just nice to, get that feedback. And sometimes you do just have to go with it and go through the movement. And I was always a very careful dancer, always very planned, measured. I was a technician, those were my strengths. And then on the opposite end of that, another director of mine, Myra Worthen, wonderful, excellent teacher to this day. You can still see her product dancing all around the world and here in San Antonio as well. But as a teacher, she would always say and as an owner of a business, she would say there are no small details. So I love that, because I was like, as nitpicky and as I can be, I'm like, there's a place for that. Finally, it may not have been as dancing, right? Because sometimes, the movement lends itself for something else, but there's a place for all of my, tendencies. So
I like that, tendencies.
But also don't be too heady.
Right. It is such a difficult thing to balance sometimes, not being in our head, because sometimes when you've seen the people that are not such great dancers, you can literally see them counting on their face. They're like, I got to do my right here, and you're like, oh God, just let go and dance.
That would be me. Yep. I'd be that student.
But then there is the nuance, right, of the little detail that is such a big deal, with the pinky or the extra bend or the extra height that you can get in a jump, and how it just makes all the difference. Because I see some people, they dance, but then there are people who their whole body moves through the dance, and it's like, I'm not just getting from this position on the floor to that position on the floor. Right. I'm dancing through the transition, and you can see it through their torso, through their legs, and on their face, that they're just like in it. Yeah. And it's like, damn, you're the real deal. Yeah. So I think that's really, really cool. So now we got to ask you and take a couple minutes to talk to us about what you have going on, what you have coming up.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have a couple of things coming up. In addition to San Antonio Ballet School, we have a nonprofit youth performance company, San Antonio Youth Ballet. So please follow us on social media. Our spring production is of The Firebird. So speaking of Misty Copeland, that was the role that pretty much, I think, made her really famous. And so that ballet will be May 13th and 14th here in San Antonio. And then additionally, San Antonio Ballet School will host its summer intensive. This is an annual intensive that we do with world-renowned teachers, and it will be July 10th through August 4th here at San Antonio Ballet School in Castle Hills.
Right. And stay nice and cool in the studio while it's 100 degrees outside.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So can you take us through a couple of your social handles, like your Instagram, your Facebook, and your website?
Yes. Okay, so our website is San Antonio Ballet School, also spelled out, .com. And our social handles are at SA Ballet School on Instagram and Facebook at San Antonio Ballet School. I'm like thinking in my head, I hope that's correct. I hope
quiz. We're quizzing you on your.
But you can follow the hashtag Serious Dance, Serious Fun. It should take you to us and your dance destination. And then our youth company is at San Antonio Youth Ballet on Instagram and Facebook.
So yeah, hopefully you've got all of those, and hopefully you are going to follow them like right now. You're picking up your cellular device and you're going to those places and you're like, boop, follow.
That's right.
Because maybe they'll follow you back. Maybe they're like your puppy and kitty videos. I don't know, your reels. I don't know. Something. I do want to ask you this in closing, because I didn't get to ask you, like, you've probably done a few principals in your life, but what is like one of your favorite roles to play?
I don't think I could pick a favorite.
Okay, a couple of one of them, like in your top 3 or 4. Something that's in your top 3 or 4.
So I like doing a mix of classical and contemporary work. So some of my favorites were doing things when a choreographer would come in and create a piece specifically for me.
Wow.
So Ginger Thatcher, Monet's Garden was one of them. She's a well-known choreographer. That was very early on in my career. The late Robert Philander in Snap, love that solo. That was wonderful. I liked performing in Gabriel Zertucci's ballet. Being a lead bride in Dracula was fun.
That's
The makeup was good.
Nice.
Yeah. And even performing in Myra Worthen's Nutcracker, timeless, excellent, hilarious in the party scene. She had so many great moments throughout the ballet. So yeah, and then of course Swan Lake. I mean, who could forget Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Ben
Okay, all of them.
Stevenson.
All of them.
I liked all of them. You're allowed. You're allowed.
Who's your favorite child? You can't do that.
I just look pretty.
Yeah, she wants to just move her body and get the kids moving. Well, this has been fun. Hasn't it been fun, Catherine?
Oh my gosh. I'm just so inspired. I love spending time with you, Danielle. Thank you.
Same, yes. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to have you here. Right now, we are going to go to a song called Free to Be Me by a group that I'm a part of called Daytime.
Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water, children.
Unapologetically, I am whispering my magic potion of love and unity into the universe, believing it will come back in the spirit of reciprocity. May my offerings be incense in the nostrils of God. May my words peel off the facade of institutional racism and discrimination, dismantling any powers that be trying to rob me of my identity.
I wanna be free, free to be me. Is it possible for me to get back what's stole from me? It's written in my genes, it's in my history. I'm who I'm meant to be.
Hey, I'm still here. We're gonna wrap up in like a minute. Yeah, I told Danielle, I was like, just hang out beside me. It's fine. What's the point of you like getting up and trying to act like you're busy in the background? Just stay here.
You can just dance in the background. I did want to share
just so you know, this is an actual friendship. We're
Yes.
cool. We're cool.
Oh, totally. We took Michael to see the Nutcracker. It was around Christmas time, and that did not go well. I think he got overwhelmed. Like, it was his first time going to like a full show like that. And it's a long story, but we ended up deciding to leave because he was just like, I don't know what is going on. This is way too much with all the costumes and everything. But for me, going to ballets, I ended up getting so emotional because it's so beautiful to me. I just think of all the time that goes into the preparation and the costumes and it like overwhelms me with how beautiful it is that all these people came together to create something, you know, like it
backstage, it's crazy backstage. People are running left and right,
throwing clothes.
And I'm telling you, and you got to go and you got to sit down, you got to put makeup on, then you got to be like pulling off clothes, and other people around you are like, oh, look at my boobs, and then you're like, put on a skin and that, and then somebody has to do a look over of you, and then they send you out, and you're standing on side. It's a lot, and I don't even do it. I was almost Mother Ginger this past year in the Nutcracker. I was this close. I was awarded the honor of being able to be Mother Ginger, and a sister couldn't do the little thing that you had to get in, and it was crazy, the contraption that they wanted me to stand in, and I was like, there's no way in God's green earth that I'm going to stand in that thing. And I had the personality to do it. I just more Danielle.
Yeah, maybe you could be our Mother Ginger next year.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Contraption you have to make me sit. I'm afraid of heights, and that's what stopped. And like people were like, "You're so fearless, Mocap." I'm like, I ain't fearless all the time. You bring in a height, Andrea's not doing it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stand on that one.
So, Catherine, to your point about performances, we offer, and I know that others do, offer a youth performance. So, an abridged version of our full length. So, with the Nutcracker, we bring in schools, and we do it in just under an hour. And and it's easier, I think, for the younger kids to sit through and some of the older kids. And then we also show them backstage and costumes. And this is a stage manager and a production manager. And
so cool.
And they can move around a bit. So maybe a youth performance.
So when you come back to San Antonio, coming back, you come kick it with Danielle and take your son, and she has the cutest little boy, his little curly hair and chubby cheeks. He's such an adorable, amazing kid, just like your kids. Her kids are so super sweet. And
I have no doubt about that. I will bring my tacos and watch the show. That's what I'll do.
Like I'm gonna do my potato and egg taco.
Bean and cheese right
She's
here.
a bean and cheeser, and you're a potato and egger. I'm multifaceted with my taco love. I can go with in a lot of different directions, but typically I do bacon, potato, and egg.
You can't go wrong with that.
My husband does that.
Yeah. You gotta get the extra protein.
Vocab, what do you have going on? What's coming up for you?
So I have the remix every second Friday. We are at Upstage Comedy Club, and the address there, if you're in San Antonio, is 4441 Walsham Road. It's kind of different from that attorney that's like, the only number you need to know is 4.
4, yeah, with his hand sticking out from
his big hand sticking out. The thing is creepy, okay? I'm like, the big rubber hand that's on the billboard is too much. But yeah, our address is 4441 Walsham. We're going to be there on second Fridays once a month. Doors open at 9 p.m. To get in, the cover is $15, but it's an amazing show with comedians, poets, singer-songwriters. We're all there. We got a DJ. There's a cash bar and food you can purchase. And folks are just in there being sexy and grown at nighttime, because like outdoors is open back up again and everybody's outside and they're not even wearing masks, but they're coughing, and it's freaking me out sometimes. But we're all there.
That would freak me out too. Yeah, I still have a knee-jerk reaction to that.
Last night at the Tobin Center, and she had a rowdy cough, and I think it was because the air conditioning was going full blast in that room. But she was like, I was like, girl, I was like,
where's the mask?
Thank God she was clear across the room, but her cough, like it just was like taking up the whole space.
It was alarming. Yeah.
You need to I hope you have a mask. You need a mask. that's too much going on. So that's one of the things I got going on. My band is playing at a place called the Echo Bridge on March 26th. And the Echo Bridge is on the southeast side of San Antonio.
Is this the one with the slope?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a place called Tandem. It's an amazing coffee shop. It's there on the southeast side off of Roosevelt. and you park there at Tandem, and then you walk down this slope. You please wear tennis shoes or some shoes with some traction and some grip, because going down that hill is really serious. You go down the hill, you can bring your lawn chair, you can bring your own snacks. We sit under the bridge. We're going to be on the opposite side of the bridge doing a concert to the people on the other side. And the sound under that bridge is amazeballs, which is why it's called the Echo Bridge. So we're going to be there on the 26th of March. That's a Sunday at 6 p.m. And it's going to be us, the George Garza Jr. I'm sorry, he's married, but he takes the part of his name out for his shows. So George Garza Jr. trio is going to play. Then I'm going to do a small set of poetry. And then the band, the Foreign Arm, which I'm also a member of, is going to do. So it's like us, all of our members doing our different individual outfits and then coming together for the Foreign Arm to end out the show. It's going to be great.
Oh, amazing. Is that, I think, Zach is part of the Foreign Arm, right?
Zach is part of the Foreign Arm. Mm-hmm.
We just had Zach Jewell on the show, and I think I saw a picture he posted, and it's him sitting under a bridge. So now I'm wondering if that's the place where y'all are performing. Okay.
We went over there to do a site visit and check out some other bands that were playing there one day, and he's always really good about pulling out his camera and doing his social media thing no matter where we are. He also has a really good picture in front of one of the murals that's there. I think that's his profile picture right now on his Instagram. Breaking Light. I don't mess that up.
Breaking of Light. It's something, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But just hit me up and I can get you there. Or if you follow me, then you can see that he follows me, and it's breaking _light.
_light. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. It's a cool place to take pictures. It's a cool place to take your friends and your family. All our music is family friendly. So if you got kids, you can bring your kids out there and not worry about them, hearing, crazy language. Just worry about them not jumping in the dirty river.
In the water. All right. We unfortunately have to say goodbye. Before we do, quick reminder, make and send in your hearts for Make 1,000, Give 1,000. You can visit our website to learn more about that. We want to say thank you to Jane Phipps of the Nancy Smith Heard Foundation for helping to make this show possible. And make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing wherever you are receiving your podcast.
And kids and Danielle.
Yes, I'm pointing the wrong way there. We will make sure all the links are in the description so that y'all can just click and learn more about Danielle. Thank you, Danielle, so much for being with us. Until next time. We will see you all later.
That's a high note.
Thank you for listening to Arts for the Health of It. This episode is produced by Hearts Need Art, creative support for patients and caregivers. You can support the show and help others learn about the healing power of the arts by visiting heartsneedart.org. The views expressed on this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of Hearts Need Art, their staff, board members, or other affiliates. All content is created for informational purposes only. This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice or to diagnose and treat any health condition. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health professional with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard on this podcast.